making me continue the show. So I said to Harris, if I get there and he doesn't show, will you fill in for him? Because obviously everybody knew about Harris, because everyone knew that Ryan had cheated on me many of times. And one night when I threw Ryan out and said it's done, it's over for good, I ended up being with
Harris.
I was with Harris, so everybody knew who Harris was. So I had him in the back burner just again, because I thought if I'm going to Belize, we're going to film this thing, you know, but who knows when Ryan's going to start trying to shake me down for more money, and I wasn't going to do it then.
Right.
You know? No, absolutely no way was that going to happen. So what happened is, again, 48 hours after I was there, the night I begged for 2.5 hours. This is all on their tape at Sharp Entertainment. It is illegal for them to erase that, so they still have that footage. Me begging and pleading. I'm being eaten from head to toe by sandflies. I'm miserable. I'm in pain. I'm begging you to let me off set. Same night that happened, and they're like, 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes. 2.5 hours later, they let me off set. And that was the same night I was sexually assaulted by Ryan. So I get up the next day. I let them know that I've been sexually assaulted. I did get a call from the producer and the attorney, and they said, we have to shut down production. If you say it, now that you've been sexually assaulted, you need to let us know, and we have to cancel everything. Everybody has to get on planes, and we all have to go back to the United States. And I said, well, let me call Harris. You know, I felt badly. I had become friends with a lot of the people that were audio, video, and whatnot. And due to COVID, a lot of them were so low on cash. I felt responsible. I thought there is this huge crew here, and you know, can I go on? You know, I felt miserable. I was in pain, terrible pain from all of the bug bites. But I thought, well, if Harris will fill in, I'll try and stick it out. And so I did. So as you saw on the show, I did call Harris, and Harris came, and again, he stayed with me, and they totally turned that around. That I had said to Harris before, if you ever want, you know, to come to America on a work visa, never on a K-1, he has a family. You saw me on the phone with Emma. You saw the 4 children swimming in the water. But instead, they had me say, after a couple days with him, I'm going to have him come to America on a K-1 visa. Meanwhile, they are making me look like an idiot by filming him saying, oh, everybody has big homes in America. Everyone's rich. I could very well get a lot of money and support my entire family, which again, I had said to him, if you ever came here on a work visa for a while, you could send the money home, you know, and help the entire family. And he and Emma were breaking up all the time. She would leave, take the children, move out, move in, move out, move in. And again, I know all this, remember, because I dated Ryan for 3 years. So I knew Emma and Ryan just as long as, you know, I knew Emma and Harris. I knew Emma and Harris just as long as I knew Ryan. So, you know, they totally contrived that on the show then to make it look like it was a setup. It wasn't a setup. I mean, I sent a box. How big was that box at Christmas?
It was huge.
Like 37 pounds, thousands of dollars. I sent not only to the kids, but to Emma, a brand new computer for Christmas. I sent Harris all new shoes because he was outgrowing his work shoes and his tennis shoes. So, and you know, it was a huge box of toys. They didn't have any money for Christmas, so it was their first Christmas where they got this huge box, and Emma, Harris, and all 4 children all had toys, shoes, clothes. Emma
Lots of
got the
kids.
most, a computer. So I could not believe it when on the show then they made it look, they had me.
Look like
Yeah.
he had you
Yeah,
snowed.
exactly.
And he didn't.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They told me to say, you're going to now have him come on a K-1 visa. And remember, I mean, again, like on my refrigerator, I'm really going to take a piece of tape and tape.
Well, and aren't you technically still engaged to Ryan?
Yes, that's a very good point too. That's a very
So
good
that's not
point.
even feasible
Right.
in reality.
Right, exactly. And that's thank you for bringing that point up as well. Because Via called me one day after I was back from Belize and she was like, I need the proof that you and Ryan are no longer engaged. So I had gotten this piece of paper from the embassy saying that the K-1 was valid for 90 days. So it was going to expire at the end of September. So, and it was already past that. So I sent that to her. Well, 2-3 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail that said, you and Ryan are still engaged, that due to COVID, that, you know, all of that paperwork you got is null and void. So you need to take care of that. Well, they had told me, they said, you need to get that to us. She admitted, we are filming Ryan, and you know, we can be sued if we pay someone, and we are going to pay Ryan to be on Bears All, and if we don't have proof, we could be sued. So, you know, I wasn't going to lift a finger when I saw that we were still engaged, when I got that thing that the other thing was obsolete and that we were still engaged. But I did call Via and said, listen, have Ryan do it. You know, there's two in this engagement. So you have Ryan do it. And she didn't answer me. And then again, it was probably 15, 16 times. I'm like, where's the $4,800, $4,730 something to be exact? Where is that money for, you know, my medical, the planes that I missed? You know, where is that?
And you had bought the tickets for the crew that were traveling with you.
Yes.
You put their travel expenses on your credit
Yes,
card.
I did.
They didn't even have the means or a company card to.
No.
So you
Yeah.
paid for their
Yeah.
airfare as well, and they owe you for that,
Yes.
which is ridiculous.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they don't even have, everyone they hire is independent contractors, so no one has a card. And the cameraman that they gave me didn't own a credit card. He didn't have good enough credit.
Yeah, he didn't have anything. He was just like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to stay here until they can find me out. And you were like, I thought you were supposed to be filming along with us.
There were a lot of people that I wanted on set that unfortunately didn't get to appear with me because of their demands and their demanding ways. So I don't know. It's been a bad experience. It's been a terrible experience. But like I did say, I did go into this demanding that they would show the business, and they did.
And that was smart. That was very smart.
Yes.
Yeah, at least you got that out of it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And now they're saying you're the villain.
I'm
of
the
season,
villain.
which
I'm the
I think
villain.
is great because nobody remembers the nice people. Everybody remembers the villains. I think own the villain. I love the villain.
Yeah. I know. It is kind of funny. The villain of season 8.
That's right.
Yes, the person who spends thousands of dollars for a family to keep their, a roof over their head.
Person.
Was a trooper, so we didn't all have to pack up and leave.
Yep.
And yet I'm controlling, and I'm a villain, and I'm hooked on all kinds of pills and drinking and all of that. And there is absolutely, as you've heard from my friends and people that spend the most time around me, there is absolutely no truth to that at all.
None.
Go back and re-watch, and again, put yourself in my shoes and have that light on you constantly, and again, having the keratoconus, which is terrible. That bright light is absolutely terrible, staring at that for hours, and everything else that happened. And remember, I was no longer with Ryan when I flew there. I had to fake that, and they wouldn't leave. And again, I was scared because of the way they kept calling and calling. And one day I finally said to Pam, I'm shutting my business phone off. So then she had
So
to.
then I answered and I was like, she's quit. Stop calling.
Exactly. But no, they do not take no for an answer. And even when they would say, I was the one time I did it, I got to go to my lake house twice last year because of them. And then they called me at the lake house, and you need to get home Monday you need to be on set.
I remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you had to leave early.
I had to leave early, so the 2 times
Actually got to relax a little bit.
a little bit. And then I said, well, how about the expense money? You owe me thousands. And they said, we're going to send you 2,000. I said, 2,000? You owed me, it was close to 7,000. And she says, what, you think we're not good for it? She got very demeaning. We're not good for it. I said that. We're not good for it. And I'm like, well, so far you haven't been. My God, I've been back from Belize 8 weeks and constantly write you. My attorney is writing Marcia Meyerberg, their attorney. Listen, here are all the bills. You guys aren't stepping up and taking a responsibility for my client and what she endured. And I do want to quickly let you know, unfortunately, Ed, my attorney, is not here. He is ill. He has to have heart surgery the day after tomorrow. But he did want to write a quick letter. He actually wrote a very lengthy letter that we obviously don't have time for. But I do want to grab the letter. And basically, he goes on to say the character assassination is so unreasonable. It's how does one build an extremely successful business after 18 years in a community that has many, many Christian people, and Stephanie becomes friends with many of her clients. Who would go to her and spend the kind of money, because our things are very expensive. We are expensive. And who would actually go to her and spend that kind of money if they had ever seen her popping pills or if they had ever seen her drunk? The other thing he wants to say about For Sharp Entertainment, concerning reimbursement, after several weeks, I have received no reply. After being in law practice for 65 years, I can say the failure to receive any kind of reply, whether it is a denial, an attempted explanation, or any sort of explanation whatsoever, is rude and completely unprofessional. And so he goes on to talk about his frustrations, and he just said, I apologize for my absence. I wanted to be here, but I could not due to his upcoming heart surgery. But it's pretty sad that an attorney that has practiced 65 years said he has never dealt with someone that doesn't give a response of some sort. We have never gotten a response, except one time when I did fly back from Belize. Marcia Meyerberg, their attorney, did get a hold of me and did say, our crew informed us after hearing of the concerns of the behavior regarding Ryan. We offered to stop the filming and assist with you procuring any medical help, not true at all, that you might need, and assist you with reporting or filing anything against Ryan at that time, and you decline these offers. Not true whatsoever. They did not offer me any help, and when the doctor did come, it was only because I needed steroid shots because my eyes were almost swollen shut, and then they did not pay for that. They refused to pay for that because they knew I begged and pleaded for 2.5 hours to get off set, and they would not let me off set. And I thought, oh boy, oh boy. So we bribed her basically to get to Belize after she was very honest with us that Ryan and her had broken up. Then Ryan goes ahead and sexually assaults me, and she's bitten head to toe. And they had to know at that time. They had to know with how I was feeling. I couldn't speak. With all of that, they had to know that it was serious. It was serious thing. So for them, Marcia Meyerberg, the only correspondence we've ever gotten was to lie and say that I was offered medical help and help filing anything against Ryan. Now, how contradictory is that they were going to help me file, but then they hire rapist Ryan for Bearzall twice?
A couple days later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can anyone?
Yeah.
Because I
That
can't.
makes no sense whatsoever.
I can't make any sense of that.
Yeah, that just seems ridiculous.
Can anybody explain why you would, if they were really truly wanting to help me file charges, which again, 10 years, it's 10 years in Belize. If I, and I still have time to pursue that if I ever do.
It's just all about making the show more interesting. That's the only thing they care about.
Yes, exactly right. So anyway, from Marcia Meyerberg, thank you, but no thank you for sending lies. And my attorney, again, says the most unprofessional he has ever seen his entire life. Because usually an attorney, when they write a firm, you get some sort of, even at least a denial, some sort of acknowledgement, whatever it may be, you get something. But again, I've talked to other cast members from past seasons, and they said that's their way of handling things. Others who have been extremely upset with the way they lie and manipulate and don't pay. I even know, and I will not say who, but I know of a couple that told me, and I do have it in an email, that they had to say that they would not film anymore because they hadn't been paid in a year, in an entire year. And they said, you're not going to film us anymore. Honestly, I should have done the same when they told me to leave my lake house and get back to Grand Rapids. The crew will be there Monday morning, have your hair done by 6. And I'm like, well, my hairdresser is the one that washes my hair. She's not there. She goes, tell her I'll give her $250. Now that she did pay. She did pay my hairdresser the $250. They just won't pay me the thousands for the bug bites and the airplanes and the hotels.
Airplanes for their camera crew.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the meals, because I got to Belize then 2 days later than what I was supposed to. So again, I'm going to say this. I guess I shouldn't speak for all reality shows, but I'm going to say this. This 90 Day Fiancé is a fairy tale. It's fictitious. It's definitely not a story, a fairy tale, because fairy tales end well. It is fictitious. So if you like fiction, then go ahead and watch it. And please remember that when you are watching it. What I experienced, and you've read other comments from other cast members who I rate, hopefully none of them were sexually assaulted or had to be hooked to IVs and be in bed for 3 months because their joints were so stiff. But again, it goes to show you should hold, to your truth. And I did hold to my truth that Ryan and I had broken up. And, if I would have stuck to my guns and let them just keep calling me and keep calling, maybe even call the police and report harassment, I should have stuck to my guns, because therefore then all of the things that I endured and now continue to endure, so I hear, again, I don't read it, but from what others tell me, what's online, it's just totally fabricated. Yeah, I mean, just the whole thing, it was a crazy experience.
And to think last year we thought that it was just going to be fun.
Fun, absolute fun.
This is going to be fun.
This is good. Yeah, this is just going to be
It
great.
was horrible.
The way they portrayed how the show was going to be, you know, David Bresnahan, 10 to 12% fluff. I'm like, all right, fluff meaning, okay,
Yeah.
Ryan and I, you know, we have a little bit more of a tumultuous fight than it really was.
Right,
you know,
right.
no, not changing. No, you are going to stay with Ryan. You are still engaged to
Right,
Ryan.
right.
You are going to fake it. Our crew is in Grand Rapids. The crew is not leaving until you get there. And then not only then when I shut my phone off because I couldn't deal with it anymore, then they went to the business line and they harassed Pam.
Well, I think it's interesting too. They wanted you to specifically pull out your college degrees and show them so they could film all of that. But they didn't put any of that on the show because that doesn't fit the narrative that they switched to.
Right.
Exactly.
We don't want you to look smart.
No,
Not when you're drunk and
and
on drugs.
pills and everything else. And yes, and I mean, and poor Pam, I mean, because I'm like, I don't know where my 4 degrees are, Pam. Will you come over? And she's getting up and, you know, I have a fairly large house, and so she's going
We're digging through everything.
digging through everything. And again, the same thing with my brother being a nuclear medicine physician. We need that, you know. Hillbilly has gotten us this far. We now need a different demographic, and you and your brother are going to do that for us. And so, you know, they had us pull out all these degrees and talk about every degree. Did you see that? No, you didn't see that at all.
No.
Did you see my brother? Yes. They gave one little clip that they played with my attorney, Ed Wolven. They played that the Saturday night before. I think it was like a 15-minute clip of them with me, with them saying, you need a prenuptial agreement. You are not getting on that plane without a prenuptial agreement. But other than that, they were so mad because my brother was texting me, hey, these idiots are texting me and telling me to get to your house. I am not being filmed. And I said to them, I said,
Leave them alone.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I said, you know, he was appalled that I even wanted to be on your Five and Dime show.
Right,
You know,
right,
and
right.
you are not going to disrupt him. Don't you ever call him again. And the scene, by the way, they wanted him here for was because they wanted me, at the time, Belize was still shut down, so they wanted to fly Ryan and I into Cancun and film there. So they said,
That's a whole crap show.
oh, I mean, we could talk for 3 hours on what happened there, but to narrow it down, basically what happened is, of course, they don't pay any of that, but they said, you know, would you hire a private plane? And I said, I did find one for $16,000. And they said, and I said, you know, I'll pay for that to get him to Belize so we can film this. And this is before, by the way, this is before I was being bribed by Ryan. And basically the producer then said, get them on the phone. We want that all discussed, like on air, how you're paying. We want that in there that you're paying $16,000. That's going to look great for the show. We've never had a private plane or anyone that can afford a private plane. And anyway, they got him on, and they went, wait a minute here. Our client is Stephanie. What, you're wanting me to do what on TLC? And she goes, you need to say the price, you need to say Ryan's name, you need to say all of that. He says, I'm not doing any such thing on TV.
Right.
And the producer said, fine, we'll find somebody else.
Yep.
And hung
We'll
up.
find someone else.
They
In the middle
Fired
of
the jet that you had
coronavirus,
negotiated.
Yes.
She had finally found a jet, and
Yes.
then they're like, we'll find someone else. And Stephanie's like, what?
Yes. And
Where are we going to find somebody else?
yes, exactly.
For
So-
16,000.
Yeah,
$16,000.
and for like next weekend or whatever it
Right.
was. It was
Yes.
like a short time.
Exactly.
It was like, it was a miracle to find that one.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. And then Big Shot, the Big Shot producer, will find somebody else. What the hell? Yeah, you aren't
Yeah,
offering a
we is
quarter.
you.
We is find a jet that was the only one left by the time I found one, and it was getting close to going to we were going to Cancun, was $36,000. And I said, I am not paying $36,000. No, we will wait and see if the border's open. And like,
Right.
oh my God, do you know how much money we have into you, Stephanie?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much money, I mean, I'm taking off of work, working for probably $3 an hour after all of the filming I had done.
Exactly.
And they're saying to me, do you know how much money we have into you? You know, you need to get that jet for $36,000. And I'm like, no, there will be no jet for $36,000. So finally, the resolution finally came because Belize did open and we were able to fly. And again, that I had to then end up paying for 3 tickets instead of the 1 because I couldn't get on the plane because my guy had all of the camera equipment. And they said, you have to be here 3 hours early for international when you have this kind of equipment. And so, again, something else that was just a cluster. I mean, again, we could go on hours and hours, but the fact remains, I wanted my friends here, the ones that were on the show, the one that couldn't be on the show due to their quick, we're gonna be there in 3 days, everybody needs their tests, and he didn't have time for that. I mean,
How many times did we all get tested?
Oh.
No, seriously.
Oh, I mean, I got tested.
We were on what that one time? Yeah, but we still they're coming, and who knows if they need you or not? Everybody has to go get tested. It's like, my
I
nose
know.
again.
I know. Yeah, no, I was tested. I was tested at least 12 times.
Oh yeah, at least.
Yeah, they rescheduled what they wanted to film every time they came.
Yes.
too.
Yes,
They would say they wanted
absolutely.
to film certain things and certain people, and then everyone would go get tested, and then they would change their plan every single time.
And your
they came.
test is only good for 3 days, so it's just like, well, everybody's past that limit, and it's just like people can't just stop what they're doing when they have jobs
Exactly.
and go get that done.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. So I mean, again, you know what? There's been a huge character assassination. If you still want to believe that, you know what? That's your business. If you want to have that small of a mind, perfect. But please know, Ryan and I had broken up. Harris was a fill-in. I had him on standby. Never was I going to have him here on a K-1 visa. I like Emma. I like all of their children. And then for them, last minute, to kind of pull in the scene that makes it look like, oh, Stephanie's been, duped by the whole family because she just said, oh, she's going to have him here on a K-1 visa. And then the ending scene is he and Emma kissing with the 4 kids swimming. Again, total fabrication. Never, ever was that going to happen.
So reality TV is not reality.
Yes. Again,
Far from it.
Yep. If you want something fictitious, go ahead and watch 90 Day Fiancé.